you might just be staring at the scariest object the road has to offer. Locking headlight beams with an anise pinnacle can flush the colors of even the most confident face into a pale, trembling mess of sweat. Moments away from you, approaches what can only be described as a projectile of indifference towards the act of driving, self-preservation, and the sanctity of life itself. The wheels mismatched and warbling, the headlights in a suspended state of shatter thanks to a web of tape, and the rear bumper flies in the wind like a schooner sail. A careless driver on the road is like a scalpel-wielding surgeon who's indifferent to the vitals of the patient laid before them. This scarily common phenomenon has many names, but to most, the vehicular personification of wrath is known to the masses as one thing, and one thing only. Big Pinnacle Energy. They're in the wrong lane again, and there's no guardrail to save you this time. Now, to understand the mindset of a Pinnacle driver, we first need to understand the Annis Pinnacle. Annis might have been notorious for their platinum hits like the LG ZR series and even the Ramus. But as with everything in the universe, there must be equilibrium, a necessary evil to balance the good. As the name would suggest, the Pinnacle is the utmost counterbalance to Annis's legacy. Like it or lump it, the Pinnacle is the driving force for Annis sales across the globe. You don't get this without a little bit of this first. You're here because you care about power to weight instead of miles to gallon. You understand that an automobile is more than the sum of glass, metal, wire, plastic, and rubber. You might even be able to see personality in a Pinnacle, but this car was not designed for you or I. No, this is a car designed specifically for those of us who can determine a multi-$1,000 purchase purely on the qualities of color and new car smell alone. So what if the CVT transmission is a ticking time bomb, and the steering wheel occasionally locks and prevents you from starting your car? The salesman was super helpful at finding you a new car, and they even agreed to finance it without bothering to know how much you make a year. You even have a picture hanging up on their wall of winners in the staff room. But sure enough, as soon as the honeymoon phase fades, the real problems emerge. By year 2, your brand new Pinnacle is a regular at the repair shop and is cosmetically falling apart faster than a wet napkin. Nobody really truly wants to be seen in a Pinnacle. It's the lowest common denominator that you get stuck with picking. In the same way that you pick the toilet or urinal with the least amount of hair stuck to it, or say the bus seat with the person least likely to talk to you. Essentially, the Pinnacle is the bus seat with the least amount of pubes on it, next to an escaped convict. Annis dealerships finance these cars without so much as a credit check so they could sell them like hotcakes. And I don't think I need to explain to you the dynamic of a rapidly deteriorating car being operated by someone who doesn't care about driving, any more than they do an introductory course on Victorian English literature. The rules of the road do not apply to Pinnacles, any more than Pinnacles apply themselves to the roads or the laws of physics. No other car is going to crash into the second floor of an apartment building. The Pinnacle's profile seems to lack confidence, exuding a stylistic compromise of sorts. Sloped body lines sweep backwards before being bisected with an armada of awkward angles, as though the designers wrapped it up after finding that the due date was in 2 hours rather than 2 days. Bits of meaningless chrome tacked across the roof, bumper, and handles desperately insist it's still relevant to the 21st century. But hey, you get a nice pair of fog lights, so that's pretty neat. Moving inside the Pinnacle shows us the height of 2000's interior design. The engine, on the other hand, stands out. Annis powered their A to B special with a 3.5-liter V8. It was about as reliable as a canoe with tape over its holes, but it gets the job done. In case you're curious what this translates to in terms of performance, not good. Annis somehow created an engine that hates itself. Once you coerce this beast into moving forward, the engine screams bloody murder until eventually finding the second gear. You do so much as adjust the steering angle and the engine groans reluctantly, hanging at the top of the tachometer. The continuously variable transmission has no idea what to do with that V8 in the front, ensuring you have the worst experience possible at all times. To drive the Pinnacle like a menace to society, as many owners do, you need to establish a hateful relationship between the car and driver. Handling this unwieldy sedan feels like an unintentional throwback to the age of full-size luxury vehicles. If you're going to take a turn at speed, you better grab onto something. The Pinnacle joins the ranks of many affordable mid-2000s sedans with values slightly above a disposable camera. However, few of these cars have seen the continued torment and abuse like the Pinnacle has. In a world where public transportation has its limits and owning a car is a rite of passage, the Pinnacle becomes the last resort for many. Thus, there are two breeds of people who wrap their fingers around the wheel of a Pinnacle: those fighting to stay afloat, and those who simply do not care.